Mrs. Jana Kermauna is one of many disabled people suffering from multiple sclerosis. For 2 years, she has suffered a progressive deterioration in health, and she realised she would have to use a wheelchair. A MyCycle wheelchair with Handmaster drives was chosen because it enables her to carry on with her normal life. At the moment, you can see her adjusting the shopping basket on the wheelchair. She is able to go shopping every day, and other activities cause her no problems. But, most of all, she can perform these tasks herself, completely independently. As you can see, she is handling our standard light wheelchair with Handmaster RS024 drives, doing all her everyday chores, which has given back a normal daily routine to both her and her family. The recording you are watching has not been edited or altered whatsoever. Mrs. Kermauna does all the chores on her own on a daily basis. If the film is examined very closely, one can discover that shorter distances are covered with rim-driven wheels. At distances further than 3 to 4 meters, Mrs. Kermauna unconsciously uses the handles for movement. Maneuvering in narrow and tight spaces is actually performed with rim-driven wheels. We must bear in mind that Mrs. Kermauna's wheelchair with standard wheels cannot be driven faster than 3.5 kilometers per hour, not even at distances of a few hundred meters. Namely, her arm strength weakens when driving for too long. There is also one important advantage for her when she is using a MyCycle wheelchair with Handmaster drives. Around her home there are many steep slopes, the terrain is uneven, and with a standard rim-driven system, she would be unable to surmount them. Now, with Handmaster drives, she has no difficulties when driving daily as far as 12 kilometers, but also at much greater speeds. In her case, regarding her own arm strength, the manoeuvring speed is nearly 7 kilometers per hour. What pleases us most is that Mrs. Kermauna, together with her family, in spite of her illness, can go on trips, spend weekends up Bled, cruise around the lake, and driving on grass-covered ground or uneven terrain presents no obstacle to her. She is independent and is no burden on her family at all. The recording you are watching has not been edited or altered whatsoever. Mrs. Kermauna does all the chores on her own on a daily basis. The MyCycle wheelchair with Handmaster drives is highly recommended by Mrs. Kermauna. She says she would be very unhappy without it.